Please welcome All-Pro center Jason Kelce.
Philadelphia! If you love the Eagles, let me get a hell yeah! You love the Philadelphia Eagles, let me get a hell yeah! I'm gonna take a second to talk to you about underdogs. I know Lane and Chris just talked about this, but I don't think that it's been beat home enough. Howie Roseman, a few years ago, was relinquished of all control pretty much in this organization. He was put in the side, he was put in the side of the building where I didn't see him for over a year. 2 years ago, when they made a decision, he came out of there a different man. He came out of there with a purpose and a drive to make this possible. And I saw a different Howie Roseman, an underdog, Doug Peterson. When Doug Peterson was hired, he was rated as the worst coaching hire by a lot of freaking analysts out there in the media. This past offseason, some clown named Mike Lombardi told him that he was the least qualified head coach in the NFL. You saw a driven Doug Peterson, a man who went for it on 4th and down. Went for it on 4th and down in the Super Bowl with the trick play. He wasn't playing just to go mediocre. He's playing for a Super Bowl. And it don't stop with him. It does not stop with him. Jason Peters was told he was too old. Didn't have it anymore. Before he got hurt, he was the best freaking tackle in the NFL. McVay was told he didn't have it. Stephen Wisniewski ain't good enough. Jason Kelce's too small. Lane Johnson can't lay off the juice. Brandon Brooks has anxiety. Carson Wentz didn't go to a Division I school. Nick Foles don't got it. Warren Clement's too slow. LeGarrette Blount ain't got it anymore. Jay and John can't stay healthy. Torrey Smith can't catch. Nelson Aguilar can't catch. Zach Ertz can't block. Brett Selleck's too old. Brandon Graham was drafted too high. Vinny Curry ain't got it. Bo Allen can't fit the scheme. Michael Thomas can't fit the scheme. Nigel Bradham can't catch. Jalen Mills can't cover. Patrick Robinson can't cover. It's the whole team. It's the whole team. This entire organization with a bunch of driven men to accomplish something. We were a bunch of underdogs. And you know what underdogs is? It's a hungry dog. And Jeff Stoutland has had this in our building for 5 years. It's a quote in the O-line room that has stood on the wall for the last 5 years. Hungry dogs run faster. And that's this team. Bottom line is, we wanted it more. All the players, all the coaches, the front office, Jeffrey Lurie, everybody wanted it more. And that's why we're up here today, and that's why we're the first team in Eagles history to hold that freaking trophy. And you know who the biggest underdog is? It's y'all, Philadelphia. For 52 years, y'all have been waiting for this. You want to talk about an underdog? You want to talk about a hungry dog? For 52 years, you've been starved in this championship.
You know what's up. You know what's
Everybody wonders why we're so mean. Everybody wonders why the Philadelphia Eagles aren't the nicest fans. If I don't eat breakfast, I'm fucking pissed off. No one wanted us. No one liked this team. No analyst liked this team to win the Super Bowl, and nobody likes our fans. And you know what? I've just heard one of the best chants this past day, and it's one of my favorite, and it's new, and I hope y'all learn it, because I'm about to drop it right now. You know what I gotta say to all those people that doubted us? to all those people that counted us out, and to everybody who said that we couldn't get it done. What my man Jay and John just said, fuck you!
Welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday night edition of Philly Guys Speaks. Joe Quills here with you, and I thought it'd be fitting that I would open the show tonight with Jason Kelce, and that cemented him to legendary status here in the city of Philadelphia with that speech at the parade after the Eagles won Super Bowl 52 back in February of 2018. Almost had a second parade, but, you know, it is what it is. So, coming up on the show, I'll talk about Jason Kelce. We'll talk some Philly sports. Zack Wheeler got a new contract extension. And then we'll go into some baseball news and some interesting video game news. You know that college football 25 is coming out this summer. I gave you a breakdown what they're doing on with EA Sports, what they're doing with the players, with the whole NIL era that we're in right now, and also an interesting mode that's going to be on MLB The Show 24, which comes out in the next couple of weeks as well. So some interesting things here as we go into the Tuesday night show. Hope everybody's having a great week out there so far. I had the day off today from work, so I did some things here and there. Nothing major. Apparently, I don't know if I have to do this for DraftKings, which is my preferred online way of playing on the sportsbook games, but I'm going to give DraftKings one of those. And I'm going to tell you why. Before we get into the Jason Kelce story, the big story of the weekend and yesterday. I'm watching the Bleacher Brothers show on YouTube as I'm getting ready to start my show, and I gave out my pick tonight, which was St. John's over DePaul. The line was 19.5. Now, granted, I said, yeah, St. John's is on the road, but I've been telling you guys since the Big East season started, fade the crap out of DePaul. And this is another point, another game, and you're only going to have two more chances to do so. They got one more game after this in the regular season. Then they'll have the Wednesday game at the Garden, and they will finish a super scintillating 2-30. I think 3-30 or something like that. They are 3-26, so they'll end up 3-29 on the year. I'm calling my shot. I don't think it's that much of a stretch, but St. John's is up 64-33 right now in the second half. So now I encourage you to watch the Bleacher Brothers show on YouTube or on Twitch or the myriad of different places that they use. And the reason why is AJ gives his pro picks at the top of the show, his NBA picks, I should say. Play Action Reel gives his NHL picks, and I give one college basketball game in the chat. And I'm not sure if they saw it when this show started because I was trying to pull up the odds because I was trying to pull up on DraftKings, and apparently they pulled the game because I couldn't find it anywhere. Yeah, DraftKings is costing me money tonight. Sorry about that, little frog in my throat there, but St. John's is up 30 right now, early in the second half there. It's another game where if this was Temple University football, they would have been kicked out of the Big East. But I think that the Big East 2.0, as this really is, they're not kicking out DePaul because they want that Chicago market, even though DePaul is hot garbage and then some. So, anyways, let's get to it here tonight. And of course, the big news and the reason why I'm wearing my Eagles hat, I couldn't find my Super Bowl hat, only because it came to me last minute. I'm like, wait a second, let me find my Super Bowl hat. And I looked where I usually put my hats when the season's over, and couldn't find it. It's around here somewhere. I just didn't really feel like looking for it, but thought I'd wear this Eagles hat, as a way to promote, support, whatever verb you want to use there, with Jason Kelce, who announced his retirement on Monday. And one thing I did say to a couple of people, what I said yesterday to a couple of people, was the fact that he had to make his decision sooner. I mean, he was running out of time making a decision because I believe his contract was up anyway. So he basically had to let teams know that, he had to let the Eagles know, and he had to let the other teams know that, hey, don't sign me, I'm done. So, because the new year in the NFL starts next Wednesday, I believe, the 13th, I believe it is. But you do have all that going on right here. So, but yeah, it's and the reason why I played that speech at the top of the show tonight is because Jason Kelce reached legend status here in the city with that speech. The same way Chase Utley in 2008, after the Phillies won the World Series, on Halloween afternoon. I remember it was Halloween afternoon because the game was on the 29th, and they gave the Phillies a day to recover from their hangovers just so I can get crap-faced drunk again. And Chase Utley uttered those famous words, world champions, world effing champions. And I need to put that as, I need to have that as a sound drop on my thing, but whatever. But anyways, Jason Kelce retires after 13 years, and I'll tell you what, and I'm going to bring it on to another topic that I want to bring up here. And of course, the one thing I will tell you guys, those are listening after the fact, those are watching after the fact, whether it's right here on twitch.tv/JoeQuills, or you're watching after the fact on YouTube, because I will upload this onto Twitter onto YouTube as well. I will have a question at the end of it. So he had a tear-filled speech on Monday, or yesterday, Monday, and I kind of watched it, but I couldn't really listen to it too much because I was working. Because as you guys know, I do work from home. I was taking calls, and you can only listen to so much. So I was listening in, and I mean, you knew it was coming because he was hinting at it for a couple of years now. And, he said, oh, I'm coming back, oh, I'm coming back, you know. And he decided, okay, he's going. And, and one person that I was talking about how he's always crying. And I said, listen, I'll be at my company 25 years in May. And I know the time is going to come where I, quote unquote, retire. And my friends that know me, that will be listening or watching this, know I'm not taking the next package, so don't read between the lines here. And this is a topic I had with my dad for a couple of years. And I said, hey, Dad, they just mailed out another package, a retirement package. Or, like I said, retirement package, which in my case would be a way that I could go into a new career. But the one thing I said was, one thing I would tell my dad every year, and I said it to my friends last night because I was talking about the conversation I had with Jason Kelce, how he was, in a way was being over dramatic. The one thing I said was to my dad with the retirement package that they give us at work, I said, before I say this, I'm not taking it. And I told him, I said, every year it gets harder and harder to take because there's more and more money being thrown at me. And, I need to make sure I have medical. I need to make sure I have a comparable salary. I need to make sure all the benefits that I have are close to it, what I have. So I don't plan on retiring or retiring with finger quotes for those that are listening on the podcast. So the one thing I said was, I'm probably going to be emotional on my final day as well. Because it was like, oh, he's crying. And I understood her situation. And she's firing 4 comments to my 1. And I understood what she was saying. So the one thing I said was, the reason why he was so emotional had nothing to do with necessarily what she's thinking. Because I said it's more than just the game. Yeah, you're getting paid well. That income's no longer going to be coming in. But, he's going to have income coming in a different route. Whether it's the podcast, whether he's Amazon Prime or CBS or Fox. He's going to be doing something next year. I can guarantee that, if he wants to. And the reason why I say if he wants to is because, sometimes you may need a year away from everything in an athlete's case, because, like me, I know with my job, I would just say it would be, I'm the type of person where I cannot, sorry for the yawning, I'm the type of person where I just can't sit around and do nothing. I have to do something, whether it's even something as little as, cleaning the dishes, or, working on my podcast, or, working on my radio station, which is now mix109radio.us. But the one thing I said was, a lot of these people that you've worked with for 20, 25 years, you're not going to see them again. And that's what I was getting at with the whole the whole thing with, him being so emotional because, for what we know, and, I think that Jason Kelce has hinted that he does have physical issues that he deals with his 3 kids that he has at home, because I think he has some sort of a back issue that he's had that affects him with his kids. At least I think he did. Don't quote me on that. But, maybe it's the fact that he just can't do it. And we don't know what the conversations are between the Eagles front office and Jason Kelce and Nick Sirianni and whoever's involved on that. Because guess what? He has to make the only decision. And, he was hinting at it for a couple of years. And somebody like him, I would rather be, if it was up to me, I'd rather be an athlete where I go out on my terms as opposed to Father Time, the team, and everybody else is telling me to get out. Now, Father Time was probably hinting at him over the last couple of years as well. And he has a growing family as well. He's got 3 daughters. You can't just say, at least he's going out on what we think are his terms. And good for him that he's come into this. He came into this city as a 6th-round pick, and he's leaving as potentially a first ballot Hall of Famer. And be on the lookout in 2029 because he should be first ballot. Now, some of the details that are in this article here. He closed the book on a Hall of Fame-worthy career. Now, Kelce said, wearing a sleeveless Eagles t-shirt, I've been asked many times why did I choose football. I never have an answer that gets it right. Best way I could explain it is what draws you to your favorite song, your favorite book. It's what makes you feel, the seriousness of it, the intensity of it. Stepping on the field was my most alive and free I ever felt. There was a visceral feeling with football unlike any other sport. The hairs on my arms would stand up. I could hit somebody, run around like a crazy lunatic, and then it got told, good job. I love football. And as I said, he was a 6th-round selection. Played all 13 years in Philly. He was selected to 7 Pro Bowls in 13 years and was named first-team All-Pro for the 6th time this past season. Proof that he played at an elite level up until his final snap. Kelce says, it's always been a goal of mine to play my whole career in one city. I couldn't have dreamt of a better one if I tried. He's the only center who has won a Super Bowl and earned All-Pro honors 6 times, and that's since the 1970 merger. His wife Kylie was there, his brother Travis, Kelce's parents were there, and like I said, he has contemplated retirement a few times in the past. Lane Johnson said, "If this after the loss to Tampa Bay in the playoffs, if this was his last game, he was one of the best teammates I ever had. A guy whose passion is unmatched. A guy who I saw Philly try to run him out of town. I saw a guy emerge from that and become the best center maybe that's ever played. He's the 5th center in NFL history with at least 6 Pro Bowl selections. The other 4, Jim Otto, Bulldog Turner, Dermody Dawson, and Jim Ringo, are all in the Hall of Fame. So, the script is set, and we do have past history of centers going to the Hall of Fame with all the accolades he's had. Jeffrey Lurie issued a statement saying, Jason gave of himself for others, played through injuries, and never wavered through all the ups and downs of our seasons in his own personal career. He's a man of many talents. He could chug beers with fans at a tailgate. He could sing in a Christmas album and raise millions for charity. Matter of fact, he's got 2 albums out with the Philly Specials. It's different guys within the team, and they brought in more people as the second one. And who knows? Maybe there's a third one this year. Probably have more time now. Or he could talk X's and O's all day with the coaches and teammates. Then after that, he could do things out on the football field that no other offensive linemen are capable of doing. If you talk to anyone in the organization about what Jason has meant to them, they would all come up with something different. That's a testament to who he is as a person and how he cares about connecting with others. Jason said, I've been an underdog my whole career, and we talked about the underdog thing in his speech there. And I mean it when I say it, I still wish I was. Kelsie said Monday, I won't forget the parade and what it meant to the city of Philadelphia, the joy in our community and the closure it gave so many. The stories from the fans that had been waiting generations for that moment fulfilled that triumph to another level. That wasn't my speech, it was Philadelphia's. Now there is a succession plan in place. Cam Jurgens was selected in the second round in 2022 to be Kelsey's heir apparent at center. Right after that selection was made, Kelsie called Jurgens my favorite player in the draft, saying the Eagles had been asking him to evaluate centers coming out of college for the past 2 or 3 years. Jurgens was the one who compared most favorably to him. So, you could tell that the Eagles respected him. They respected his play, everything like that. So, now he's got plenty of options post-career. He's a local icon. He has his own podcast with his brother Travis. Broadcasting is an option with multiple networks reportedly courting him in Las Vegas in the lead up to the Super Bowl. Jeffrey Lurie also said today's a bittersweet day because while it's hard to imagine the Eagles taking the field without Jason Kelce in uniform, we're also excited to celebrate his career to support him as the journey continues. So, Jason Kelce retires, and I'm going to ask a question here, and you can always hit me up at Joe Quills. All my information, if you're watching the video, is right there to my left, to your left. And I'm going to ask this question. And the one thing I try to do, if you're new to this podcast or stream or watching on YouTube, I'm going to ask some questions here that, sometimes it is going against the grain or whatever you want to call it, devil's advocacy, anything like that. I saw the term GOAT used a few times. GOAT as in the greatest of all time. And we also see, his number's got to be retired. Do we use the term GOAT too much? That's a question I ask. And there are not many centers in the history of the NFL that compare with Jason Kelce. I get it. But it just seems like every time somebody retires, he's the GOAT. I mean, we even got the GOAT argument right now in the NBA with LeBron James, which, no, sorry. But I'll tell you what. And the toughest part about using the term GOAT, whether it's the Michael versus LeBron or in this case, Jason Kelce versus whoever you want to compare him to in terms of centers or offensive linemen or however you want to compare that. Or you compare Tom Brady with Joe Montana. The one thing we need to realize is we do have different styles of play. We have a bunch of, you know, different styles of play, different rules, rule changes, especially because, you know, Joe Montana's day, the defense could do a lot more to the wide receivers than what defenses could do to the wide receivers in Tom Brady's career, especially as he progressed into his 86 million year career, or at least it seemed like 86 million years. But, you know, the one thing I will say is if you want to, my information is right over here on the left-hand side of the screen. Or you can hit me up at Joe Quills on Twitter, also on Threads. And also, you can hit me up at joe@bleacherbrothers.com. You know, let me know what you think. You know, do we use it too much? Do we use it too quickly? Now, granted, I mean, I think the center position probably hasn't changed as much as, let's say, the rest of the game, because all you got to do is snap the ball and then do whatever your blocking pattern is. And you know, I may be totally wrong by saying it, and hey, I'm going to be wrong more than I'm right. But one question I ask, is he the GOAT in terms of centers, in terms of offensive line? I'm sure the Oakland fans will say, or the Raiders fans will say Jim Otto. I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers fans will say Dermontti Dawson. I think Dermontti Dawson played for Pittsburgh. You get the idea. Because not only will the GOAT status be based on who is in, who recently retired, let's say. Not only be that, but also it's going to be a matter of who, where you are, who your fandom is with, stuff like that. Because, yeah, I'm sure if I had Raiders fans in here that remember Jim Otto, they'll say, "Oh, Jim Otto's the GOAT." And I'm sure Pittsburgh fans will say, "Oh, Dermontti Dawson." You know. And the thing is, with the way that football has evolved over time, most positions you can't do that. Now, in terms of the NHL, yeah, it's Wayne Gretzky, no doubt. With baseball, there's so many different parts. How would you begin with that? But, you know, it's, I mean, does it get used too much? I mean, I think so. I mean, let the guy retire first. You know, let him get his speech out before you declare him the GOAT. And you know, I understand it with the Philly people and all that. And I'm just as guilty. I'm an Eagles fan as well. But you know, you just have to, you know, let things cool down a little bit. Because I guarantee Jason Kelce's number is going to be retired. But you know what? Let him settle down with everyday life. Getting back into the real world, so to speak. Not having to prepare for another year of the NFL. Going through OTAs, going through training camp. Getting in shape. You know, now he can do some other things that he can prove that it does well so far. He can podcast. He can, you know, he can be a color analyst. He can be a studio analyst. He can do a million different things if he wants to. But I guarantee you, more than anything else, he's got 3 young daughters at home. You know, maybe he just likes doing the podcast and, you know, pull up the Zoom or whatever program he uses and, you know, he talks to his brother for an hour or two. But, whatever he does, he's going to excel at it because, he did, that Thursday night that he was in Chicago and the Eagles were on the bye week, he knocked it out of the park. He's, and he's well spoken, And you could tell that you could tell his speech was something that he thought about probably, I would say even a couple of years, not a couple of weeks, not 2 months. Because he was thinking about doing that for a couple of years. But, congrats to him on a great career. Eagles fans will be making their pilgrimage to Canton, Ohio, probably in 2029. And rightfully so, because he deserves it. And, he's probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. And he's probably going to shed more tears when he gets his gold jacket and talks to everybody when he's inducted and is officially in the Hall of Fame when that July or August comes around. But yeah, it's good for him that he finished his career. Now, granted, would he have liked another Super Bowl? Yeah. Would he have liked to play his brother one more time in a Super Bowl? Yeah. But you know what? In the end, I don't think he has any regrets whatsoever. He's one of the few Eagles that have played in more than one Super Bowl, and he's played in 3. 2, 52 and 57. But, an amazing career, and congrats to him, and, we wish him well as he moves on to the next phase of his life. So good for him. Now, the other big news that happened actually before Kelce officially retired was that the Phillies re-signed Zack Wheeler to they signed him to a 3-year extension. 3 years, $126 million. And this is an article from Todd Zalecki, and I caught the press conference because this press conference was before I started work. And Zack Wheeler's going to be 34 on May 30th. And Zack Wheeler said he doesn't want to pitch when he is old. Now, old is a relative term because, everybody gets to a certain age and, and Father Time's going to get involved. So he's 34, or he will be 34. But the right-hander has been one of baseball's best pitchers for the past 4 years, and a lot of teams would bet he would dominate into his late 30s and possibly early 40s. Wheeler doesn't want that, though. So months before he signed the 3-year, $126 million contract extension with the Phillies, he told everybody involved that he wants a short-term deal. That means no more than 3 years for Philadelphia and probably no more than 2 years for anybody else. No 4, 5, or 6 or 7 year deals, no options, no opt-outs. Wheeler said he enjoys pitching and he wanted to be here in Philly. He loves competing, but he doesn't want to play until he's old. And I want to be around my family. I'm definitely enjoying the moment here, enjoying every moment I take the mound. It's special, and not everybody gets to do it. Not everybody gets to do it as long as I have. I'm grateful for that. Now, it's the highest annual and average annual value per season for a contract extension in MLB history. It's the 3rd highest AAV of any pitcher behind Scherzer and Verlander, and the 4th highest AAV for any player behind Shohei Ohtani and the other two mentioned. Negotiations could be difficult, but this one seemed relatively easy. It helped that Wheeler wanted to stay in Philly, and the Phillies acknowledged that the obvious from the beginning. Now, the Phillies initially hoped to keep Wheeler's AAV alongside Jacob deGrom, who's an average of 37 per year, Garrett Cole 36, and Steven Strasburg at 35. But they soon realized that they would need to move closer to future Hall of Famers Scherzer and Verlander's $43.33 million, especially on a short-term deal. John Middleton said, "You just have to kind of get it done." It was just like when we signed Bryce Harper. There were numbers out there that if you're really going to consider signing Bryce, you just had to understand you were going to be a certain number. You knew what's out there on the market. You weren't going to get him for 35. You weren't going to get him for 37.5. It had to start to 40. It had to start at 40. The question is, where over 40? So, and he's proven himself in the postseason as well. Zack Wheeler's whip, that's walks and hits per innings pitched, is 0.73 according to Sarah Lang's. That's the lowest in any 10-start span in postseason history, and that's his first 10. Next on the list of any 10-start span is Justin Verlander at 0.76 at 2013 to 2018. And it's also the lowest in postseason history for a career minimum 50 innings pitched. So he's been the man. He is the ace. And technically the Phillies have two aces. They got him and they got Aaron Nola, who re-signed for 7 years. But, and he's a new father. A father for the third time. His wife gave birth to a daughter on last Tuesday. He took the physical over the weekend before the deal was announced on Monday. And, he's going to be in the Phillies fold for 3 more years. And, if he pitches as well in the postseason as he has the last couple of years, you could be looking at one of the most amazing stats in MLB postseason history. So yeah, that's a very great career and well-deserved contract. And Dave Dombrowski said that we'll worry about the financials when we get to it. So, if you win and you're drawing fans, because Dave Dombrowski did point out it wasn't like spending money like a drunk sailor or a drunk anything. He knows that revenues in are what drive the team. Whether it's the tickets, I'm adding stuff to that, but he was mentioning the tickets, but also you got the TV contracts, you have this, you have that. That all comes in, and also, it's like one big balance sheet where it's revenues versus expenses, money in versus money out, and you're going to have, and this team wants to win. John Middleton has said numerous times he wants his trophy back. It never was his trophy, but but I get what he's saying. He meaning the team, the front office, they want the trophy back. So he has said that in the past, and be interesting to see. And I think that was the perfect contract. I think Zack Wheeler has everything set up perfectly for him, because his mentality is, from what I've read, is I don't want to be somebody who struggles at the end of the year that's eating up contract space. He doesn't want to be the guy who has Father Time knock him out of baseball, or a team says, Zach, you don't have it anymore, we gotta let you go, something like that. Now, does that mean that after 3 years he's retiring? Probably not. It all depends upon how he feels, his family, because he's got 3 young kids. I don't know what the ages of the other 2 are, but not only are you a baseball player, you're a father, just like the way Jason Kelce is. But we'll see what happens here, and I still have some questions about the Phillies in general this year because of the fact that it just seems like they didn't really address the bullpen, and maybe some seasoning with Orion Kirkring being in the majors for a full regular season this year. Maybe that helps him. Maybe some time in AAA helps him. But there's so much that we can talk about that over the next couple of weeks as we get ready for opening day on March 28th, and we'll see what happens there. So now, going to talk baseball. We're going to get away from the Phillies because even though this is the Philly Guy Speaks, this isn't all about Philly sports. Sometimes we start on the outside and we work ourselves inward, kind of like a low pressure system. And sometimes we're like a high pressure system where we work our way out. Well, tonight we're going to be working our way outward from the city of Philadelphia. And the Oakland A's, who are eventually going to be moving to Vegas, where they're at in 25, 26, and 27, who knows. They released some designs today. And even though this article that I'm reading is ESPN, I'm going to show you the article from, not from there. Here's the article from NBC Sports Philadelphia. And just want to get this here. There we go. Anyways, here you go. And you see some of the renderings here so far. And this rendering, this first picture is basically going towards the corner of Tropicana and Las Vegas Boulevard. Behind center field there, that's the MGM Grand, and that skyline that you see there is the buildings of the New York Casino and Hotel. Now, the way that looks like it's going to be is it looks like the stadium is going to be set up almost like the way that Skydome is, where the sun sets out beyond left field, or like Cleveland is as well. It's just the way that they set it up with the way the stadium is, and they want to get some of the skyline. Also, during the summer, you're going to get some amazing sunset views here. So that's also something you're going to see as well. And they're saying that this is going to be a 33,000 seat stadium. These renderings were released today, as I mentioned. They're hoping that the 33,000 seat dome stadium will be ready to move into in 2028, depending mostly on the construction timeline. As you see there, that there is a glass window beyond the outfield that provides an outdoor feel with the views of the Las Vegas Strip, as I mentioned. You see the MGM Grand behind center field. You see the New York, and you're going to see all different things probably with that as well. You see that video board that is rendered along the right, behind right field. It's an 18,000 square foot video board, which will be the largest in Major League Baseball. And if I mispronounce this name, so be it. Bark Ingalls Group and HNTB are the architectural firms in charge of the design. The collaboration between BIG's creativity and HNTB's technical expertise allows for a truly innovative and bold design while ensuring an unmatched fan experience, according to A's owner John Fisher. He also said, "We hope to add a dynamic atmosphere of liveliness of the Las Vegas Strip, creating a welcoming environment for all of Southern Nevada." And here's some of the other pictures, and that's what the outside view would look like. Now, granted, I wonder what they're, if it's going to be as clear as that is. Because if it is, truthfully, you don't even need to get a ticket to the game from what it looks like. You can just just stand in the concourse the whole time. Now, granted, that area may be ticketed off. Who knows? But, you might have to get into that area with a ticket. But who knows? But, just my thoughts. But then again, during the summer when it's about 115, 120 degrees, I don't think you want to be there. And one thing that you're seeing there, it does look a lot like the Syndey Opera House in Sydney, Australia. So, now the stadium is going to be built on 9 acres of the 35-acre site owned by Bally's. The Tropicana Resort that currently sits at this location will be demolished to make room for a stadium and hotel. The $1.5 billion price tag includes $380 million in taxpayer money approved by the Nevada legislature. Bally Chairman Sue Kim said in the statement, the A's have created a remarkable design that adds to the rich fabric of must-see attractions in Las Vegas. This is a once-in-a-generation project. We are thrilled for the opportunity to develop a comprehensive site plan at this iconic location. We look forward to sharing more on our plan in due course. There's also plans for 2,500 parking spots. I know what you're saying. 2,500, that's all. Though fans will have nearby parking garages that they can also use. Garages are used for parking at T-Mobile Arena, which is down the street on Tropicana Avenue. It's right next to New York, actually. But it will be the smallest stadium in MLB, though Tropicana Field has a capacity of 25,000 when the upper levels are closed off. Otherwise, they hold just under 40,000. The Rays are planning to build a 30,000-seat stadium near their current site. Progressive Field was downfitted to 34,830 seats. It was approximately 43,345 when the park opened in 1994. Now, me personally, and I've said this numerous times on this stream and on this podcast, I just get the feeling, and I don't know why, I just get the feeling that the A's are going to end up somewhere else. They're going to end up in Sacramento. They're going to be in Salt Lake City. They're going to be somewhere else. The reason why I'm saying this is I do not think that there has been any situation where a team has moved to another city and there's no stadium waiting for them. Because, you can't play Allegiant Stadium because that's specific for football, and you probably don't even have the capability of collapsing seats, so you can have kind of like the way the Metrodome was when the Twins played, or something like that, where you can have, or maybe even the Marlins when they played, where you have like a 30-foot wall. There really isn't a way that they could do that. But as of right now, Oakland's going to stay in Oakland this year. And you know me, I said what the mayor should have done is said, all right, you don't want to be here, get out. But they're letting them stay there another year. It wouldn't be surprising to me if Major League Baseball said, guess what? You kick them out a year early before their lease is up. They're not going to sue. We're going to sue. So, I wouldn't be surprised if it was that. But here's some additional renderings. That's a view of Las Vegas Boulevard South. Now, where they play for the next 3 years is a mystery to us right now, but they got to figure out something in the next month or two, because Major League Baseball's got to create the stadium. Now, they could play at the Giants' home, Oracle Park. That's a possibility. Or they could temporarily move to Salt Lake City or Sacramento. But the target is to be in Vegas by 2028. But construction and legal delays could push back that timeline. So, and also the A's are going to be in Vegas this weekend. So, or actually, this weekend for a couple of exhibition games. And oh, by the way, their AAA team is in Oakland as well. So, some interesting things there. But I mean, if you're going to see something as big as this, as flashy, whatever the right word you want to use here, whatever that word is, that is what Vegas does. T-Mobile Arena is its own thing. The way that they do their signage is, the way it's emblazoned on the glass and stuff like that is different from any others, I believe. Allegiant Stadium, they have their own thing as well. And also the Sphere. I mean, my God. I mean, you cannot miss it if you're even flying in from another city. Even that has its own thing. They do things glitzier and more glamorous than any other city in the country. So, but I don't know why. I just get the feeling that Sacramento's going to say, you could stay here. Salt Lake City, because they want an expansion team. Now, the fact that we have this 3-year window where we don't know what to do with the Athletics. I mean, are they going to be the Salt Lake City Athletics? Are they going to be the Utah Athletics? Are they going to be the Sacramento Athletics for 3 years? Who knows? I mean, I imagine they may be called the Oakland Athletics only because the only situation in the last, since Major League Baseball began, is Toronto having to play at Buffalo because of the COVID restrictions in Canada. Other than that, I don't think that there was any. I don't think there was anything like that where a team had to play at a AAA ballpark. And also, the AAA ballpark that they're going to be playing in Sacramento or Salt Lake City isn't even their own team. And the stadium in Vegas, the Las Vegas ballpark, that isn't even. I mean, you can't expand on it. It's just you're stuck with what you have there. So, but but it is fascinating, and I'm just curious what they are going to do there. I'm always watching because for those that know me, I don't mind going to Vegas a couple of times a year. And, I wouldn't mind going there, because, the Phillies are there twice. Phillies will be there every other year now, starting in 2028. I imagine it'll be the odd number years, but who knows? But, I finally got to see a game at T-Mobile Arena. There's other places I want to go for games. I'd like to see a game at the Thomas and Mack Center with UNLV basketball. And by the way, UNLV basketball is coming up next. I believe on they got Nevada and Boise State. Okay, I guess that's. But anyways, you gotta, since gambling became legal, sportsbook gaming was legal all across the country. It was just to the individual states of allowing it. Vegas has become the hot spot for franchises now. I mean, they got They got the Raiders a few years ago. They got the Golden Knights as an expansion franchise. And hockey made the most sense in terms of gambling because I don't know. I mean, I don't know the numbers of different sports that you gamble on other than future wagers, but I would imagine that hockey is a distant fourth. But if once again, if I'm wrong, so be it. But it made the most sense to me once you really think about it in terms of the gambling money. But you know, Vegas has been a roaring success since they came into existence, and they got their Stanley Cup last year. And who knows? Maybe they go for 2 in a row. I mean, but the way the NHL playoffs are, the Stanley Cup playoffs, anything could happen. I mean, even the Flyers could win, even though they're a year ahead of schedule, in my opinion. But yeah, some. So we got those renderings, and we'll see what happens in a few years. And good luck to MLB The Show for creating that stadium with their graphics when the MLB 28, 29, whatever game it is, comes out when the Athletics do make it to Vegas, even though I think they don't. But anyways, little gaming news. And I am a reformed gamer a little bit. I mean, I still play games once in a while. I do play Out of the Park Baseball, and that comes out next week, I believe. I gotta order that in the next couple days. I might do that tonight. But MLB The Show 24 comes out in the next week or two, and they are unveiling a new feature on the game, and it's a female player mode to this year's video game. A trailer was released today, and it showcases Road to the Show, Women Pave Their Way, for the game scheduled to be released on March 19th, so 2 weeks from today. For the first time ever, you can create and play as a female baseball player with a unique Road to the Show story that evolves with the player over the course of your career. This path will include all existing features of Road to the Show, with the addition of a unique to women storyline, following a lifelong friendship as it develops in professional baseball. I mean, I almost want to get this game and get a PS5 or whatever just to see how that will work out. The trailer features a nod to Kelsie Whitmore, the first female player in an MLB Partner League. And what those MLB Partner Leagues is, they're the independent league teams that aren't affiliated with any individual team, but they are associated with Major League Baseball, that they test certain rules that they want to test. And also Major League Baseball could say, hey, I want to sign Kelsie Whitmore to a single A contract, let's say. I think it's got to be double A, but whatever they say, I want to sign her to a minor league deal in my organization. Okay. I mean, you can sign somebody from the independent, not affiliated as well, but you get the idea. Now, Whitmore is a pitcher and an outfielder for the Staten Island FerryHawks of the Atlantic League. That's the league that the Camden River Sharks used to be in before Camden County said, get out, get out. Kelsie Whitmore said in a statement on the website that, to me, this project is a great opportunity for the world to be informed of women who play baseball, and that taking their skills to the next level is possible. My hopes for this project is to educate others that women and girls do play baseball and that they are capable of competing at this every level. Molly Braley, who's the game's narrative designer, said in a statement that Whitmore and others were involved in the story mode's development. Braley said this feature was inspired by the stories of women in baseball. Throughout history, women have been making waves in the sport. That includes legends such as Toni Stone, who was one of the first women to ever play professional baseball. And there is a umpire who may be breaking into the majors in the next year or two. may even be later this year. The name escapes me, but you know, and I hope that I say this with the correct intentions. And I've said it numerous times, and I have no problem if a woman holds a job in sports, whether it's a coaching job, whether it's the announcer, the play-by-play announcer, color analyst, whatever. I don't care. I couldn't care less if it's male or female. The only thing that I care about when it comes to a job like this is whether or not they earn the right. Like Kelsie Whitmore, if she got signed by a minor league team, she would have earned it. She toiled in with Staten Island, and she improved herself to a point where our team said, you know what, let's put her on our minor league roster. For example, Kate Scott, I think that's the name. My brain's mush and I was off today, so imagine what my brain would be like if I did work today. Sixers play-by-play announcer on NBC Sports Philadelphia. She earned her spot. Lisa Byington was the first one in the NBA. She's with Milwaukee. She earned that position. Now, the worst thing you can do, in my opinion, is hire somebody because that they are blank. We hired an NFL coach because he's black. I'm also, I'm a little critical on the Rooney Rule because we gotta interview you, something like that. But interview because they earned it, not because you have to. Or in the case with Scott or Byington, do it because you earned it. And also, the Oakland Athletics are having a new play-by-play announcer. I shared it on my Facebook page, and with me sharing stuff on Facebook on my personal page, it gets to the point where it will take me half an hour to find it. But they got a female play-by-play announcer next year, and truthfully, she worked with the Colorado Rockies for 10-15 years. She was doing play-by-play of other sports as well, and once again, she earned it. She put in the work, doing different things. It's kind of like being in radio. The way, and I'm sure that I'm going to get myself into trouble with the younger generations, and truthfully, I don't care, because I see a lot of it with like people are not happy with their job because they didn't like my thing and blah blah blah. Well, here's the thing. You don't start off in a real job in the real world. Not even not that the sports world isn't the real world, because some of these jobs are real world jobs if you really think about it. You're not making $30, $40, $50 an hour first job, unless you are in a field that calls for new hires to make that money. You're going to make minimum wage, a little bit above minimum wage. And sometimes you gotta work as an intern. And I tell you the story numerous times of how when I was at Drexel, I saw an opportunity to go in for an internship with the Flyers. And granted, I would have been the oldest intern known to man, but I just wanted something on my resume. And I contacted my counselor. I said, here's a internship that I'm interested in. Can I use it for credits for my master's degree? And she goes, "Oh, that's a great opportunity, but you won't get credit because it's a paid internship." And I couldn't take a leave of absence because who knows what they would do with my medical and all that. And I'm sure if I really investigated, I could have. But I was helping my parents out as much as possible at the time, and I have my own bills on top of that, and I'm doing this, that, and the other thing, and you just I just couldn't do it. I mean, and with the hours at work, I probably couldn't figure out a way that I could do both. And truthfully, just for the sake of it, I would have applied to the job just so I can get an interview. But because I couldn't get the credits for that internship, I'm just like, oh well. But and I'm sure that the Flyers could have went to Drexel because they're across town from each other. They could have said, hey, we should give this guy the credit for the classes for this. But it would be nice to have been in there and go in there because once you get in the door, you're fine. And the one thing I tell you when you ask me, and I'm probably the last person you should ask about jobs in sports, but I'm just going to talk in general. I'm not going to talk about sports. Not just sports. I'm going to talk about jobs in general. Get your foot in the door and let it take you wherever it takes you. Now, granted, that's my mentality. Let me get in, and then I'll go from there. But I'm not the type of person who will, because the worst thing you can do is quit your job, go to a new job. The new job doesn't work out. Now you're figuring out how to pay your bills at the end of the month or beginning of the month. How am I going to pay rent? How am I going to pay that mortgage? How are my kids going to eat? How am I going to eat? But that's something, that I will always tell you is, as long as you've earned it, no problem at all. If there's something funny to happen, yeah, I got a problem. And those that know me personally know that I have a problem with a certain someone who refused to help me but was more than happy to help someone else out for the same situation. But final story that I have here, and this is an update to the EA Sports college football game that's coming out this summer. More than 10,000 college football players have already opted in for the EA Sports College Football 25 game. But fans will have to wait at least 1 year for Texas quarterback Arch Manning to lead their teams on the new video game. Now, it says he's a sophomore here, and there's parts in this that says that he's a redshirt freshman, so I don't know what his status is going to be. We'll see what happens when the rosters come out over the summer. Because it says here in the second paragraph here, he's a sophomore backup for the Longhorns and the nephew of former NFL quarterbacks Peyton and Eli Manning. He's among the players who have opted out of being included in the video game, a source confirmed with ESPN earlier today. Excuse me. Manning attempted 5 passes in one game as Quint Ewers' backup in 2023. Wanted to wait until he was the guy at Texas, sources said. Now it kind of makes sense. So it isn't about, let me just get a quick $700. And there's more to it as well. Well, quick $600, and then you get the video game. He's likely going to be the backup again this season after the Ewers decide to return after leading the Longhorns to a Big 12 title in their first college football playoff appearance earlier this year, or last season, the 2023 season. And here's something that I didn't realize. And, some people, they hold things close to the vest, and, some people, like, for example, and I'm not saying this, it's just something that, like Caitlin Clark. Now, her NIL deals and everything like that, I'm sure if she wasn't the superstar that she is, she will probably have some NIL deals, but not to the extent that she does have, because she is a superstar player at the University of Iowa and is going to be the first pick in the draft and WNBA draft, and she's going to be the face of the WNBA and women's basketball for years to come. Now, Manning has been reluctant to do NIL deals, which is interesting. But maybe his upbringing, and maybe because he knows what Peyton and Eli have gone through in the NFL, and you see what they do, their deals, their sponsorships, and everything that they do. So maybe it has something to do with that as well. And I'm sure his father Cooper, who was a college player who was injured, high school or college, whatever it is, I'm sure he gives in good insight. Peyton and Eli, they give insight as well. So it's not like some of these athletes are going in there totally blind. He's got two uncles that have been through many a sponsorship, many a game played, everything like that. I'm sure that it wasn't just Arch talking to his father Cooper. I think it was Arch, Cooper, Peyton, Eli, and even his grandfather Archie Manning. I'm sure they all talked to him about it. He said his only now, according to ESPN's story here, his only NIL deal last year was an exclusive trading card partnership with Panini America that included a charitable auction. So I think that says that he's more than just raking in the money. He wants to give back a little bit, if I'm reading into that correctly. So that's an interesting story there as well. Monday, ESPN reported more than 10,000 players have already opted into the part of the into be part of the video game. EA Sports will pay them through a name, image, and likeness deal. Players that opt in will have their name, image, and likeness used to have their NIL used. Will receive $600 and a copy of the game valued at $70. Now, granted, it's not like getting a hundreds of $1,000 deal or $1 million deal or whatever it is. They're not doing that, but for some of the bottom, some of the players that are like second, third, fourth string, even for them, $600 isn't much money. But you know what? If you think about it, it can pay a couple of bills. It can get you dinner. You can take the girlfriend out. Whatever they want to do. So it's more than just. When you see $600, you're like, $600 is that all? But they got over 10,000 players that have agreed to this. So, and it wasn't that they came up with this number out of the clouds. It was based on other games that they had. The NFL game, I believe, was what they cited. So. Now, by surpassing 10,000 opt-ins, EA Sports has reached 87% of its goal for the game, which will feature teams with 85-man rosters. Company spokesperson told ESPN that more than 100 of college football's most recognizable players have opted in during the past week. For example, Travis Hunter of Colorado, who's a receiver / cornerback, Georgia quarterback Carson Beck, Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe, and Alabama quarterback Dylan Gabriel and Ewers have all opted in. So, now, OrangeBloods.com, which is probably a Texas Longhorn fan site first reported that Manning was opting out of EA Sports College Football 25. So I found that an interesting story to mention here as well as we start to wrap up the show for tonight. So Thursday we'll be back here at 10 o'clock. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. If you're listening to the podcast, give me a follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/JoeQuills. Because guess what? I need 8 more followers to get to 50, which means that I can become an affiliate. I think that's the correct term. And I can do some different things and take cheers, which are basically bits, which are basically 1 cent per 1 bit. And, Amazon gets a cut, I get a cut and all that. But, it is, I'm not the type of person that is going to look for a handout. I'm not that type of a person. I'll appreciate it, and who knows, maybe it turns into something the way that Free For All did. If you're familiar with the Free For All show, Sean Tempesta did a thing where, everybody would donate bits and, make donations in general. And at the end of the month, what we racked up would go to a charity. So we could do that. We'll see what happens. But, that's something that I'll have to figure out once that bridge is crossed. So, but we're not there yet. We're 8 away. And, if you're listening or you're watching after the fact, give me a follow on twitch.tv/JoeQuills. And we'll have some fun. And, we'll do some gaming. And I've been doing a little bit of gaming. I downloaded a pinball game. And I don't think it's a great game that I can actually play and chat at the same time because I think it's a one-player game. But it's fun graphics and everything. I'm doing it once in a while. I'm not the type of person that's going to be gaming 24/7, 365, but you get the idea. So, and thankfully we did get the podcast in tonight, an episode, because I almost canceled this afternoon. I got to get a test done. Nothing serious, so don't worry about that. It's just an old age thing that the doctor wants me to do. So I called them today, and they said, "Oh, we can do it tomorrow." I'm like, "What time tomorrow?" 8 o'clock. I'm like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." Oops. 11:30 for those that have 11:30 is the first curse word out of my mouth. Congratulations, you are the lucky winner. But I gotta get an ultrasound just so I can. Just a test on the circulation of my legs and stuff like that. But, and they said down like, all right, well, I'll consider it, but tell me what other dates. And they said, well, this date in the afternoon. I'm like, I'll go with that. Only because there's no way in hell that I'm going to be getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a day where I would have to work. Especially when I'm off today and, I didn't get up till almost 11 o'clock. I woke up around 9, played around with my phone a little bit, dozed off a little bit. Next thing I knew, it was 10:30. Looked at my phone a little more, then it's like 11 o'clock. I'm, all right, time to get up. But anyways, I do appreciate everybody that takes the time, that listens and watches after the fact. I do appreciate everybody. And also, Joe at BleacherBrothers.com there. That's where you can hit me up if you want to send me an email. Joe Quills for Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and stuff like that. So do appreciate everybody, and we're going to call it a night. And I'll be back Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And who knows what we'll get into then. We'll let the news and anything else that happens come what may. So thank you all for joining me tonight. Catch you Thursday here at twitch.tv/JoeQuills. And the Philly Guy Speaks is part of Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Check out bleacherbrothers.com for all your sports needs. and check out my articles, Quills Picks Winners, which I've definitely not been doing lately, but I am fighting through this cold streak that I'm in. So have a great night, everybody, and